Hi everyone, this is Kay from AdMain, and I'm back to you today with the second episode about the basics of selling in an antique booth. So basically Antique Booth 101. And yesterday I pointed out what the very basics are. What is an antique booth? And I kind of explained how they are set up. And I want to just add really quick to that because as Pudgy Picker pointed out in the comments, there is a third way that some of these antique markets are set up. And that is that some of them are operated sort of as a co-op, and I had heard of that. I just did not consider that when I was looking for mine. And how those work really quick is that you trade off either sometimes a percentage of your commission or your booth rent for working at the actual place a couple of days a week, or maybe one day a week, or more than that, depending on the place. Now, I did not even consider that because I don't have time to physically work in any of these places. I just really wanted to just put my stuff in and play around in my booth and leave. But there are places where you can negotiate a lower rent or commission in exchange for working at the place. So thank you for pointing that out. So what I have today for you is a top 10 list of why it's good to sell in an antique booth, why it is good to have an antique booth. And I'll go and check them off as I go. So the very first one is something that is kind of dear to me, because if you have always wanted to have some sort of physical retail space, you dream of a brick and mortar store to sell something. I have, and for me it has always been books. I've always dreamt about having a bookstore, but that has not really happened, and they are a dying breed anyway, unfortunately. But if you always wanted a store of your own, to sell your stuff, but you don't want to take on all the risk, because that is very expensive. It's a lot of startup costs. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of responsibility. But if you still have that dream, having an antique booth is pretty darn close to getting a taste of the real thing, because you still have actual physical space. There's very low startup cost. There's very little risk involved. Yet you still get to have that physical space where you can sell to your customers. Number two, this is how I started out, and this is how I saw it. It is a very fun hobby. And what I mean by that is that, yes, you can sort of look at it as a way to make income, but foremost, look at it as a hobby with benefits. That's how I see it. When I started out, I purely just wanted to do something else besides my work. I already work another job, but I wanted to do something besides that. So that was sort of my thought of it. It's going to be a hobby, and maybe I would make some money on the side too. Turned out I started to make a lot of money on the side. So yeah, I would advise you to look at it as a hobby that has the potential to bring you some nice income. Number three, this goes a little with that, but you can look at it as a part-time job. And the people I have met, there are a lot of them there in my antique mall that see it as a part-time job, and a lot of them are retired, and a lot of them actually are stay-at-home moms that do this on the side. There are also some students that do this on the side. So it's a very good little extra income avenue and a fun part-time job. And then number four, this is a big one. It is really fun to shop for an antique booth. If you're already a reseller, if you sell online, that's fun too. They're going on a treasure hunting trip anywhere. It's always fun. But I think it's extra fun to shop for stuff that you can sell in an antique booth, because you can come up with the most crazy, strange, weird stuff that you can put in your booth. And things that you could not even imagine putting online, really. But you get to put them in your booth, and you sort of get this item a new life. And yeah, it's just fun. Very awkward, fun, strange things you can pick up and put in your booth, and suddenly it just totally makes sense that they would be there. This ties into my next point. It's a good place to sell things that are just a pain in the bum to ship online, or to just sell online. And for instance, some of the categories there, like furniture. I can sell small pieces of furniture in my booth. It's big enough, and that stuff is, I don't even want to think about shipping that stuff. And for instance, I sell things like little kid furniture. I've sold a school desk. I sell rocking chairs, little miniature tables, things like that. And that stuff, you know, and lamps, pain in the butt to ship. Same with like luggage and breakables. For instance, I just picked up this the other day actually, and this is another Dorothy Thorpe type glass. It's a salad bowl with salad miniature or individual salad bowls inside, and I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to shine it up because this is real silver, but a pain in the bum to ship. I wouldn't even want to list this stuff and then ship all these things individually, even though they can sell okay. I admit I am a lazy shipper. But putting it on my booth is awesome because it's going to look good, it's going to sell well, and that's why I love to put this kind of stuff in my antique booths. And same with, I showed you this last year, I haven't put it there yet, but something like this, these big globes, great to put in antique booths. Again, I love to sell old books, you know, that stuff you know, they just had great graphics and everything, that would not necessarily do that well online, but if you display them and put them in your booth, you know, they just look good. And me personally, I'm just happy that people pick up old books. Another thing, oh, this is so heavy, I have no idea how much this weighs, but these are these old iron cookie molds. These have tin soldiers. This is from the 50s somewhere, I think. It's okay to sell online too because, you know, they don't break or anything, but just a pain, I think. It's so heavy. So this I probably will just stick in my booth. So that was that point. You know, it's a good place to sell stuff that is just cumbersome and awkward to sell online. And then the next one is just for all of you who kind of like to fiddle around and kind of decorate and play with stuff. It's just a fun place to do all that stuff. If you like to decorate your house, for instance, you like to decorate tables and everything, you can be so creative in an antique booth. You can do all these cool displays. You can experiment with how things will sell the way you, depending on the way you decorate and display them. They can be all crazy, they can be all dainty, it can be all sort of masculine with tools everywhere and looks like a little miniature workshop and everything. All that stuff. So there's a lot of pleasure in just sort of play around with your booth and make it look good, I think. And then the next one, I think, will pertain to a lot of you online sellers. It's just an excellent add-on to your online selling ventures. It's if you already sell online on eBay, on Amazon, on Craigslist, this just adds a whole another venue for you to sell items on. So it really can maximize your profits. And I might have been a little bit harsh in yesterday's video where I was talking about, you know, don't just dump your stuff there for selling later. I did not really mean that. I meant to say what I also said, that it's very smart to put stuff there to store while you're waiting to list it online. My point was to, you know, try to sell it there as well. I see people in my place that just come in with a box of stuff, and sometimes they even have a note saying to be priced later. You know, that is just not good, you know. At least try to sell it while you are waiting to list it online. So then again, it's just another venue for you to sell on if you're already an established seller. And again, like I said before, you can just sell crazy fun stuff that you couldn't really easily sell online anyway. Another reason is that this is a place where you can sell your own stuff. So if you're very crafty or you like to make your own things, or you like to pick up like old rusty things or old sort of wooden furniture or anything and refurbish them and repaint them and everything, that is an excellent place where you can resell it. So I know a lot of people that do this, and they pick up, for instance, doll beds. I've done this myself, or doll furniture, or kids rocking chairs and everything, and they spray paint them and they just make them look so great, and then they put them in their antique booths and sell them that way. And it's just a very, very good way to sell some of your own stuff. If you're very crafty, if you know how to do lots of crafty and needlepoint things and things like that too, it's a very good way to sell your stuff. And then second to last, it's a great way to meet fun people. I meet so many interesting and fun people in my antique booth, both the fellow sellers and the customers. The customers are awesome because there are so many collectors and just people with interesting backgrounds. And I don't know, for me, that is a very big bonus because I work from home, don't get to interact with so many people. Blurry there, sorry. And so when I go out there and I tinker around in my booth and people stop by and they start talking, you know, and where am I from is always the accent, you know, and then I get to hear all these adventures they've been on, and they're military collectors and they're super cute old grandmothers that collect things from their youth. And it's just a fun place to meet people there. People who are collectors are the most fun people to meet, in my opinion, and fellow resellers as well. And finally, I just want to say that it's my last one is that it's just a fun experience. You can cross it off your bucket list, basically. It's like, I have sold in an antique booth. And whether you stick with it or not, it's just a fun thing to have experienced, to actually have dealt a little bit with sort of vintage or antique items and had your own little retail space. It's fun. It's really, really fun. So those were sort of my top 10 reasons why it's good to sell in an antique booth. Tomorrow I'm going to come back with a list where I interviewed my antique mall owner and asked her basically what are the biggest mistakes that new sellers make when they set up an antique booth. And I'll let you know what she said about that. So anyway, sorry this is getting long, but you know, that's a lot to cover. And please make a comment so I know that you are watching, and any questions is good too, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye.